Welcome to my channel. If you like my videos, then kindly subscribe, like and watch. Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, and welcome back to the part 3 of chapter number 6. In this chapter we will discuss the shearing stress in beam and thin wall member. So the topic is again shearing stress in thin wall member. So consider a segment of wide flange beam subjected to vertical shear V. So you can see this is a wide flange beam and that is subjected to a vertical shear force V. The longitudinal direction is X, the vertical direction is Y and transverse direction is Z. And the thickness of this wide flange beam the width of this uh, thin wall beam is delta X. So we are going to take a small segment of the flange, wide flange. Clear? So this is the section that we are going to take for our analysis purpose in order to show the shear stress in thin wall member. So this is the member that is shown as B dash, B, A dash, B dash, B, A and A dash. The thickness of this flange is T while the width is or length is delta X. So there is a vertical shear force acting on the beam, and if we cut out this flange from or a segment of flange from this beam, so there will be a horizontal shear force also acting on B. If you look into this figure, you can find out that this web is perpendicular to x direction, so this shear force V will be equal to tau of x and it is in direction of y. So this shear force is tau of xy. Now this horizontal shear force is actually tau of zx. How? You can see this face is perpendicular to z. This face is perpendicular to z and it is in the direction of x. So that is tau of xz. So the shearing stress in the flange is tau of xz while shearing stress in the web is tau of xy. Now this shearing stress in the flange is equal to tau of xz, which is equal to horizontal shear force, which is delta H over the area. Now this area is equal to delta X into T, which is equal to delta H over delta X into T. This is the horizontal shear stress that is acting on this flange. Clear? So as we know that the longitudinal shear force on the element is delta X, this is the longitudinal or horizontal shear stress shear force that is equal to VQI into delta X, as this delta H is equal to Q into delta X. So Q is equal to VQ over I into delta X, where Q is the shear force, X is the length, V is the shear force, Q is the first moment of inertia, I is the second moment of inertia, and delta H is horizontal shear force. So this delta H is equal to VQ over I into delta X. The corresponding shearing stress is tau of xz. So due to this horizontal shear stress, the shear force, horizontal shear force, the shear stress tau of xz is equal to delta H over area, which is equal to T into delta X. So this delta H is equal to VQI into delta X. So if you put it, let me solve this, delta H is equal to VQI into delta X. Again, let this tau is equal to delta H over area, and this is equal to delta H over T into delta X, and again this delta H is equal to VQ over I into delta X. There, and again the area that was T into delta X. So delta X will be cut out, so we will have shear stress is equal to VQ over I into T. That is presented. And we also know that tau of xz is equal to tau of zx, so it will be the same. Previously, we found out a similar expression for the shearing stress in the web, and the shearing stress in the web is tau of xy. I have already discussed why it is xy, because this surface is perpendicular to x, so this is tau of x and the direction of y. So first subscript is used for the phase that is perpendicular to the axis. It is perpendicular to the axis, so tau of x-axis, so it will be tau of x, and the force is in direction of y. So this is tau of xy. Now this tau of xy is also again VQ over IT. Both equations are same, but the value will be different. Also note that we have already discussed that any surface will be having three forces. One will be normal force and two will be the shear force. So in this condition, the only force that is acting, shear force that is acting on this surface is tau of xz, and there will be again tau of xy, but that will be equal to 0. Why it is 0? Because in flange you know that thickness is very small, so the shearing stress in this flange will be 0. Tau of xy will be equal to 0, and only the shearing stress will be tau of xz. Similarly, in web portion there is a shearing stress of tau of xy, but there will be tau of xz will be equal to 0, because the thickness of web is also very small in z direction, so this term will be equal to 0. So flange will experience only a shear stress that is tau of zx, and web only experience a shear stress of tau of xy. Now we will discuss something thing about shear flow on thin walled members. So you can see there is a hollow rectangular thin walled member. So the variation of shear flow across the section depend only on the variation of first moment of inertia, because we know that Q is equal to tau into T. How this is Q is equal to tau into T, as we know that Q is equal to delta H over delta X. Clear? And delta X is again this, that delta X is equal to VQ over I into delta X, and this delta X will be remain same. Clear? So this delta X will be cut with delta X, and Q will be equal to VQ. Q will be equal to VQ over I. If we multiply and divide it with delta T, so this VQ, sorry, not delta T. If you divide both with T, so we know that VQ over IT is equal to shear stress. So Q will be equal to shear stress, and this T will remain same. So Q is equal to T into T, which is equal to VQ over I. Now the shear flow in this box type beam will be represented as that the shear force that is acting at point A will come to point A. At this point A, shear stress will be 0, and this flow will split into two, from A to B dash and A to B, and the shear stress will flow toward this, and from B it will come towards C and C dash, and from C dash it is again coming toward point E, and they are merging, and at point E the shear stress will be 0. Now the shear stress or the shear flow is at point A is 0, and it is increasing and moving toward point C dash, where C shear flow will be maximum at neutral axis or C dash. It will be minimum. Q flow will be minimum over here, and again at point E, Q will be equal to 0. Clear? So for a box beam, Q grows smoothly from 0 at A to maximum at C and C dash, and then back to 0 to E. So from A to B or from A to C, C dash, it is increasing our maximum, and then from C to E or C dash to E, it is again coming back and decreasing, and at point E it becomes 0. The sense of Q in horizontal portion of the section may be deduced from the sense in vertical portion of the sense of shear force. So you can see that the shear stress flow is at from point A, it is in deduced, that is split into two, and then it is coming toward point C, and again it is merging. So if the force was like this, is the shear force will be like this. So again at from point E it will be toward this, and it will be merging at point A, and it will give you 0. Also, why the shear force is or the shear flow is maximum at CA. So we know that shear flow is equal to VQ over I, and that depend on the Q, where Q is the first moment of an area. Clear? So if you are taking the measuring the shearing stress or flow over here, so only the area will be this one. So, but if you are moving towards C, again the area is increasing. Clear? So Q is increasing, meaning the shear flow will be maximum toward the neutral axis, or it will be maximum at the neutral axis. Now we will discuss the shearing stress or shear flow in the W beam or short flange beam. So in our previous discussion, in which we discuss a box beam, and we find out that the shear flow at point will transfer to point A, and at point A it will split toward B and B dash, and then from B dash to B, and from B dash and B it will move towards C, and at the end it will come at point E, where the shear stress will be 0. Now in thin wall section it is completely different. This is a thin wall section, and it is subjected to shear force. When you apply shear force, the shear flow will start from this position, A and A dash, and it will start from A and move toward point B, where point B it will be moved down toward point C. And so the shear, let Q1 is the shear flow from A to B, and Q2 is the shear flow from A dash to B, and they meet at point B. The total flow will be Q1 plus Q2, and that will be maximum toward neutral axis. And when it moves from point B, from point C to D, again after reaching point C it will split into two, moving toward from D to E and D to E dash, and at point E dash and E the shear flow or shear stress will be 0. So for a wide flange beam, the shear flow increases symmetrically from 0 at A and A dash. It will symmetrically 0 and flow from A to A dash, and reaches a maximum at C, and then decreases to 0 at E and E dash, and then from E to E dash it is 0. And it is the same as the continuity of variation in Q and emerging from Q from section branches, and suggest an analogy of fluid flow. So it also follow the analogy of fluid flow, that from A and A dash and A it comes, and then it merge and flow towards C, and at reaching point D it moves toward E and E dash, and then it becomes 0. So this is how the variation of shear flow in the thin walled member or wide flange beam and short flange beam. I hope you have enjoyed this short video. If you like the video, kindly subscribe, like and watch.